Sometimes we complicate this thing way too much. And not everybody's in the same place. So for some, just being here. Just saying, you know what? Okay. You know what? I may not have done everything I wanted to do this week, but I'm going to try it again today. And that's good enough. Maybe you were able to think and breathe for 5 minutes this week. Right? Maybe it was that. That's a victory in a world where everything is fighting for your attention. You finally said, okay, me time. That's important. Extremely important. What did you just say? Because a lot of communication is listening. Anybody listening? People taking the time to actually hear you. So when you speak, are they hearing what you say? Are they trying to one up your story? Questions. Good question. When you communicate, are you listening? Are you on your phone while they're talking? Like, how much are you actually hearing? I hear people say I'm good at multitasking, but don't we all want a little undivided attention? I'm not asking you to do that for me particularly. I'm just saying in daily life. You know, are we listening? It's time. Everything is still gonna be there. The world is still gonna move. And it could be another month, 2 months, 3 months. But no, I'm celebrating starting this. I am here. I'm in this thing. I said, I'm not going to wait another moment. That book, yes, I'm writing it. It could be another year. You know, you got to get editors, publishing, all that good stuff. Even if I do it through myself on Amazon, it still takes time. But I said, nope, I'm going to start now because I need that push. I need to get out of my own way. Have you been in your own way this week? If you are someone like I am that is extremely loyal, will drop everything for a friend, what kind of reciprocation are you getting? Can you have a serious moment with them? Does everything have to be about them? Does everything have to be about you? It is very serious. Inner circle. To get that second win. You know, in that race, life is like a race. And you're running it. And you get tired. And you're like, who is going to pass me a cup of water on the sidelines, please? Who is going to get me? Who is going to help me? I need a towel. I need one of those Go-Gurts. I'm not a runner. Not that deep into running. I like to work out, but who's going to supply that little extra boost I need because I'm running out of steam? When you compete on that level and you have to fight, that the world could just be fine. You did your best. You put it all out there, but you still swinging. You looking for the next battle. Where I gotta go? Where I gotta upload? Who next? What's up? And he was like, oh, you're in recovery right now. You're crashing. I see you. I see what's going on. You did good, first of all. Let's just congratulate you on what you accomplished. You did excellent. Now it's time to rest. Now it's time to sit back, take a second, recover, just kind of marinate in that victory before you put up that next one. One of the biggest hurdles in communication is understanding how the person receives information. Because what's okay to someone is not okay to another person. Chief is from a background that deals with martial arts and bodyguarding. And so a lot of his language seems very strong to some people. He'd be like, you're attacking me. Attacking you? I didn't even touch you. I didn't even say anything. Wait a minute. What he's saying is, I feel like you're coming at me. I feel like what you're saying is trying to hurt me in some fashion or form. Pull back a little bit. Right? I'm sure you've had friends that came off and said something like, bro, and there is an open road. And you happen to come up against the one tree or bush in that open road. Clear plains. No obscurities, no hurdles. And you come up to that one bush, this one thing, this not even a fork in the road. I'm telling you, straight path from my 1 to my 20. There it is. Straight path. You come to that one bush, that one tree. And all of a sudden, your brain is like, well, behind that bush might be a cliff. What? That tree. There might be something to catch you up right there. We create boogeymen in our mind. But that's so real. It could have been another 12 years because of pride, because of not seeing the need to invest in yourself. Because you don't think, well, I kind of like it, but maybe it's not worth that right now. See how what I got going. What happened was every excuse in the book. That's what happened. That's what happened. When are you going to do it? I'm not telling you to do something too big. Like I said, I have a friend at work that loves to bake. I was like, when you going to pass out them samples of that cake? Not that kind of cake. Focus your brain. Keep your mind right. When you going to pass out some samples? How am I going to know if I want to buy any if I haven't tasted it? Right? Come on. What we going to do this week, y'all? If you tend to your own garden, if you tend to your own life, if you tend to your own relationship, they will be beautiful. Who cares? Who cares what this person is posting? Oh, I follow them because they got this and they got that house. And you don't know what their credit bill looks like. You have no idea how many separate bank accounts they might be hiding from each other so that they can post once a day. But are you really communicating? So Chief and I, when we first started our relationship, right? Any two people working together, any two people just starting to have a conversation, whether you're complaining about gas prices at the pump, or you're waiting in line at Walmart, you're trying to work with someone on a deal, whatever it is, you have to learn how to communicate. You're wondering, you're questioning, you're second guessing yourself. And I'd be able to say that if you are a husband-wife pair, that you might have had a huge fallout over that. He or she might have said, well, you didn't support me. You did this, you did that. Let's say y'all tried to open that family business. One of you has a vision. You want to get something started. And you turn inward and you say, well, I thought you said, well, I did my... And you took it the wrong way. You didn't realize, first of all, that you were recovering or that your spouse was recovering. You know, a good habit and a rule of thumb that War Chief and I do is that we'll go back and watch our own videos. Because what we thought we were saying, is it really coming across? What we thought we were putting out there, is it really being effectively communicated? And that's important. That's very important. How are you going to get upset with them if you can't even watch your own stream back and decipher what you were saying, right? People really get upset about that. I know for a while, of course, every relationship. So with Chief and I, follow, I appreciate you. You know what? You're going to help me get there. Because you know what? Just being here is a victory. Just being alive. Sometimes we complicate this thing way too much. And not everybody's in the same place. So for some, just being here. Just saying, you know what? Okay. You know what? I may not have done everything I wanted to do this week, but I'm going to try it again today. And that's good enough. Maybe you were able to think and breathe for 5 minutes this week. Right? Maybe it was that. That's a victory in a world where everything is fighting for your attention. You finally said, okay, me time. That's important. Extremely important. What did you just say? Because a lot of communication is listening. Anybody listening? People taking the time to actually hear you. Hi, welcome. Welcome back, everyone. Happy Sunday. Happy Easter Sunday, Resurrection Day, whichever one you feel most comfortable going with. Hi, how's your day going? How's your day going? How have you been today? Chief and I, we've been really well. Resting today. It was wonderful. Sun's not out, but it was still a beautiful day. Absolutely beautiful. And so thank you for coming. This is Clear as Crystal. A few changes. One of which I have on no makeup at the moment, except for eyebrows and eyelashes. I felt like not wearing makeup today. I decided to change it up. I wanted to become a little more crystal clear. So this is what my face looks like. But yes, welcome. Hello. How are you today? And so, like I said, Chief and I, we were just kind of lounging a little bit, soaking up the day, just kind of meditating and enjoying ourselves. And so I knew I wanted to stream today. I knew today would be a good day to stream. Today would be an important day to stream. And wanted to reveal a few things about myself. And so, as you might have seen, this is Becoming Crystal. This is our 9th episode. Yes, Becoming Crystal. And I wanted to share some of my book. I wanted to read to you a little bit today. So just wanted to talk. Wanted to talk today. Nothing too formal, nothing too big. It's Easter. We've all enjoyed ourselves, hopefully. Hopefully you, if you wanted to spend time with family, or if you wanted to go to church or wherever you worship, if you wanted to relax, I hope whatever you wanted to do, you did, because it's Sunday. And a lot of us know that when Monday comes around, it can be kind of rough. So we are here. And first thing I wanted to reveal to everyone is that, can you hear me? First thing I wanted to reveal is my real name. My first name. Believe it or not, it's Eris. Aeris. Eris. And so I don't know if you've looked for me on other social media platforms, but on some I was able to snag the name Clear's Crystal. And then on others, because Clear's Crystal might have been taken in some form or fashion, I went ahead and just went with my real name. And that's Eris Crystal. Everything sounds okay, Chief? Yeah, turn it down a little bit. Turn it up. Okay. My producer is checking on things for me. Hello. But yes, clear as crystal. And my name is Eris Crystal. And so my mom gave me that name. There was actually, hello. Smile is important. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining us today. And so my mom was going to give me the name Aaron, but she decided to go with Eris. And it's mostly because I had a cousin that was born like 6 months ahead of me. And they happened to take the name Aaron with the exact spelling my mom wanted. But I think it turned out for my good. I think it turned out best. So my name is Eris Crystal. And this is Clear as Crystal. And this channel is about being transparent in a world where everything has to be perfect, has to be airbrushed, has to be remastered, fixed, and post-edited. I am here wanting to tell you to be yourself. Smile is important. Be yourself. All of those watching, be yourself. It's so important. Being yourself. And this day is very important. This day is very special for those who believe in God and who are Christians. And I know that I have viewers that aren't. And that's okay. I never put anybody down for anything they believe in. I don't. Not outside of being crazy. A follow, thank you so much. I don't know why it's not popping up. Why ain't they popping up, Chief? We're going to get that fixed. My producer, he's apologizing, guys. Sorry about that, Smile. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for the follow. But it is extremely important to be yourself. And like I said, this day is very important for us. Hey, Foxy. Hey, Angel. Back at you, beautiful girl. Beautiful lady. And so this day is important because it's the day that gave us what we believe is our spiritual freedom. It's extremely important. And so, like I said, not everybody believes in God. Not everybody believes in Jesus Christ. And that's fine. That's fine. But I, of course, will not be anything but myself on this channel. And so happy Easter to you, Foxy. We appreciate you for stopping by. We hope you enjoyed your day, whatever you're doing, who you're with or what you're up to. We hope that it was wonderful and that you are enjoying your Sunday overall. And so this day is about bringing back to life, coming back to life. You know, as we celebrate, Friday was the day that he was hung and buried. And Sunday is the day that he resurrected. And so what does that mean for us, right? Because some people went to church today and they get the visitor card and thank you for coming. And maybe it's your one of 2 times this year that you decided to go. Don't forget your punch card. You clocked in for the low this year. You made it. But what does it actually mean, right? Well, we believe it means that the freedom that he allowed, it goes for you too. All of us, big and small, that freedom. And so part of that freedom that I want to express today is being myself on this channel. And so I wanted to share a lot of my backstory. For some reason, people, of course, look at us and they think we're polished and we got it together. I don't know where they got that from, Chief. Did you post that somewhere? Who did you share that with? I didn't share that with anyone because I know it's not true. Chief and I, in fact, we had an argument a couple of days ago. Might have been yesterday. Who knows? We forget. But we're humans. We're real people. And yes, we're trying to make this come forth as we've seen it. But nobody is perfect. And so when I say resurrection, when I say what does that mean for your life, I'm asking, what can we pull from that? That blooming. I love these flowers, by the way. I just got these and I'm in love with them. I helped to resurrect them from the dead. They were dying in Walmart and I brought them home. Gave them a little TLC. And so they're blooming again. Blooming. They were dying. They were shriveled. They were dehydrated. We're helping to bring them back to life. And I believe our lives are like that. So, as I said, my name is Eris Crystal. And I grew up very, very hidden. I grew up very abused, neglected, bullied, somewhat abandoned. But at a very young age, I was given a lot of responsibility. And so, like many of you, I grew up in a single parent household. My mom had to be mom and dad, unfortunately. And therefore, she couldn't really give us the attention and time that we needed. We were kind of drifting. We were. And so us kids, I grew up, I have 2 younger brothers and 1 older sister. My older sister has a story of her own that I won't go into too much detail on because I believe that that should be her right to tell it. But my older sister is 8 years older than I am. I am 34 years old. I'll be 35 in October. Chief is laughing. He can't believe I said that on camera. I'm like, Chief, I'm being clear as crystal over here. I'm being all me. And so I had to be, hey, Cupcake, welcome. But I had to be mom at a very young age. Like I said, my mom, she worked full time. She was a forklift driver for a board and pasta company for a large majority of the employment that I understood. You know, I was a kid, of course. And later on, she went to work in childcare and stuff. Excellent, amazing teacher. But I was one of those kids that was like a latchkey kid. I had 2 younger siblings, and I had to cook, clean, help with homework, parent-teachers conferences, school events. Like, if teachers needed something, they called me. And I was only like 10 years old. They called me. You might have had a similar situation. I'm not trying to bring your Sunday down. What I'm trying to do is encourage you that you are not alone. We've all had tough childhoods. We've all had, things that have happened to us that was not good. And I think it was in my 2nd episode where I talked about everyone is the protagonist of their own story. And usually that story starts out where, of course, there's a birth. Then the parents see kind of a gifting and a purpose, or maybe they have some intentions for that child that gives them some direction, some purpose. And then all of a sudden, I believe that the enemy likes to come in at a childhood age because it confuses us. And so something traumatic happens as a child. It could be devastating, mostly devastating. It doesn't always have to be abuse. I don't want people to feel that has to be. First of all, don't compare. Don't ever compare your trauma with anyone else's trauma. But it could be divorce. Your parents were together, you were young, you're watching them beautifully, and then they break up, and now you have to decide who you're going to spend Christmas with. That is traumatic for a child. I personally dealt with sexual abuse. I was sexually abused as a child for about 5 years of my life. I actually blacked out most of my childhood, or at least I tried, as a coping mechanism. We do. And so it's not easy. It's not easy, but I am here today. And so after that had happened, it happened very early on in my life. And then all of a sudden, my mom, who was a devout Muslim, that's right, Foxy, you and I have talked a lot about that. And we'll keep talking about that. And so I'm glad that you're here. But my mom, because my dad was Muslim and my mom was Muslim, and she just got to the point where she just said, you know what? Jesus, Muhammad, whoever you are, show up. Because she had gotten to a place where she was so depressed, guys. I lived in a house on a street. Okay, first of all, I lived in St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis, Missouri wasn't as rough, but it was rough back when I was growing up there. And the house I lived in, people thought was abandoned. It was not well taken care of. I was too young to cut the yard. My mom was too busy to cut the yard, so we had waist-high grass all the time until we got old enough to help out with that. It's falling apart. She was extremely depressed. But she also was kind of a hoarder and didn't know, depression will cause you to do many things. And she wouldn't clean up. There would just be trash everywhere. There was times where we didn't have heat in the house. Didn't have running water in the house. Didn't have food to eat, guys. Like I said, this is a very, very transparent stream. I'm not going to bring your night down too far, trust me. I need to get this off my chest. I remember as a girl taking kind of a sponge bath in like a bucket because the water and the pipes and everything were really messed up. And we would then take that bucket of water and flush the toilet with it. Sometimes we had to sleep in the same room because maybe one of the little space heaters went out. I'm talking about poverty. Poverty. Rough time, rough childhood. Parents doing all that they could. My mom just trying to make it, trying to get us through, trying to raise children, trying not to completely neglect us and in our situation. It was rough. It was very rough. But around the age that I was 12, my mom broke down because my aunt was, we call her Reverend Mother. She was like the church woman of the family. And like I said, my mom was Muslim, my dad was Muslim. And so my aunt was like, my mom's name is Sherry. Sherry, please just come to church. Please just come to church with me. Just try it. Just see it. I don't know. That'd be my mom's. I don't know. It's kind of weird over there. It's And I'm not trying to get anybody to go to church, but what I'm saying is my mom had a moment in time where she made a decision. She cried out, surrounded in everything that she was going through, not knowing what she was going to feed us or when, dealing with the stresses of being a single mom, looking at her young daughter, her 2 sons, who she knew was kind of raising themselves at the moment, and said, Jesus, Muhammad, whoever you are, show up. And so I started going to church when I was 12. She felt like Jesus showed up, and my mom cussed like a sailor. Like, you think, if you hear me correct Chief on his stream, and I'm like, hey Chief, if you could drop the F, just maybe avoid that one. You can say the S, D, whatever you want to say, just drop the F word. Like, just stop saying it. My mom would cuss like one of the guys. She worked in a factory. She'd shoot the breeze with them. She didn't care. But she would do it. And all of a sudden, it just shifted. She used to smoke a pack of cigarettes a day. And I'm not coming down on anyone's situation. If you feel weird because I'm saying this, I'm sorry that it's coming off that way to you. That's not how I'm intending it. But she did. Those were things in her life that she needed to see a change, to feel a change on, to know that something was happening. I know, right? Me too. And so a few games, a few softwares and programs that will give some sailors a run for their money. But she needed that. That was her indication of something had been changed, because she had been trying. She wanted to. That was something she wanted. And so we started going to church. I was 12 years old and went and got baptized and all that good stuff, and joined a community of people there who were different. Who were different. And I'm grateful for my church upbringing. I don't agree with everything that happened. That's right, Cupcake. Oops, don't want to shake the camera. And I don't agree with everything that happened. I don't agree with all of their methods and, what they focus on, what they don't focus on. That can be another stream. But I was grateful for that. It became a harbor and a safe haven for me. It became a place where I could just sit and soak up positivity. Because situation didn't change immediately. My mom started going to church. She was doing what she was doing. We would still go to that house. Cleaned it up and get things working. But at the times where we would assist in food drives, they would make a box for us to take home. I'm just sharing. Sometimes we didn't know what we were, like I said. I personally, to this day, have a little bit of problem with bratwursts. Maybe there's a food that you don't care for. Maybe for the same reason. Because it so happened that my mom was able to get it. And it might have been during the summer when school was out, but that's all we had to eat. That's all we had to eat for a period of time. And I experienced abuse from family members, sexual abuse. It's very unpleasant, very disturbing, very traumatic. But the truth is, a lot of you may have as well. And I plan to have a stream completely on that topic. Right now, I'm just kind of sharing in general. Drink green Kool-Aid, yep. And this stream is a little heavy, so if you want to put it, add to the chat, you can. If you don't, I understand. I understand. You don't have to comment on this particular stream. That's okay. But yeah, that's kind of how I grew up. I went to a school in St. Louis, elementary school. I remember that school. It was happy. Because that's where I knew I was going to get something to eat. I was for sure going to be warm. And I had teachers that cared. Teachers that poured out to us. They understood that kids came from broken homes. That not everything was okay. They understood that a lot of kids were fighting in class because they had broken situations. They were patient with us, with our situations. Yeah. Fox, I'm reading your chat. Thank you for sharing that. But I appreciated it. Because at school, that meant that I could learn, of course. There was all kind of programs. I understand. Foxy. And of course, if you had a creative side of you, you could go be a part of art class. I didn't go to any private school. I went to St. Louis, hood school. It was hood. It was all the way hood. I got bullied every day for talking different kind of hood. Because I grew up and then we ended up moving to Springfield because my sister had run away. And so my mom, she uprooted us for a little while and we went to Springfield, and that's kind of where I picked up my accent, my more proper accent. And then so I come back to St. Louis, everything right there. In fact, that's how they say my name, not Eris, Ars. My mom would be like, it's Eris. They'd be like, Aris. So it wasn't a private school. It wasn't anything that was just like, over the top, competing nationally. No, it was just a school. Just a little public school in the neighborhood. Right down the street. I could walk my brothers. And they had just enough to help kind of pull us kids into the positive. Thank you. And so, if you had an art ability, I loved drama. I loved, reciting poems and things like that. I have a recording of a poem that I did when I was younger from the school, inside the school gymnasium. But I remember those little square pizzas. Remember those square pizzas they had at school? I was one of those kids that freaking looked forward to it. They were not good. I mean, you can eat that kind of stuff today and you taste and you're like, ugh. But for someone who may have only had whatever to go home to, I got pizza for the day. And so we lived in a 3-bedroom house. My mom, my 2 brothers shared, and then I have my own room. Grew up kind of like that. And I'll share my earliest memory. My earliest memory is actually written in my book, and I plan to read that in a little bit. So please hang around. We were all delusional. That's our cupcake. We were all delusional. We were kids. We didn't know any better. Especially if your situation was tough. It was good just to have something to eat. You could focus in class. So yeah, free lunch. I was on free lunch. It was me. Present. But like I said, I'll share my first part of my story that I have written in my book that I plan to read towards the end here. And we just kind of grew up like that. So after 12 years old, the abuse had stopped, and we just continued to get through it. My sister, like I said, she's 8 years older than I am. And so she was out doing what she was doing, and she had 3 kids. But because she was not in a place mentally, emotionally, definitely housing-wise, to actually take care of those kids, my mom took them in. But my mom was working, guys. So essentially, I helped take them in. So that's 5 kids I was raising at the same time before I even left high school. Before I even got, the oldest one, because my sister's 8 years older than me, they're actually stair steps. So her oldest is 10 years younger than I am. 10 years younger than I am. The second, 10 years younger than my middle brother. And then the youngest, 10 years younger than the baby. And so, kind of what it was for a while. So after my mom started going to church, she started to volunteer at the church. She would volunteer at the daycare, and then all of a sudden she was working at the daycare. That was good. She needed that. And her personality came back to life. She was surrounded in depression at one point, and she finally got a taste of freedom. And she was happy. If you think me and Chief were loud, my mom was happy. She was loud. Aye! She didn't care who you were, what color you were, what you were wearing. She didn't care any of that. She was just, how is your day going? What do you need? She would pay for people, even when she didn't have it. My mom taught me about sacrifice. She taught me about loving everyone, no matter what they look like or what they've been through. That everyone had a story to tell. And your story could be beautiful. You don't have to be like everyone is today. Airbrushed, polished, remade. So much makeup, it's like, oh my gosh, where does your skin end and the makeup begin?
Oh my goodness, first time I saw you without makeup.
Oh gosh. Okay, what did you just say, Chief?
Oh, I can use it.
Yeah, what did you say?
Oh, I was saying, first time I saw you without makeup, It doesn't shock you because how much makeup you were wearing. The fake eyelashes,
Oh my gosh, it was over the top. It was over the top. It was way too much. I had the long eyelashes on. I had, I think, may not have had a wig on.
oh, once or twice.
Maybe once or twice. But just caked up on my face. Eyeliner just. He's like, where are you? And so when I didn't have. And I've asked him this, guys. He's lied to me. I've asked him. I was like, do I look different without my makeup? No, you don't. I was just watching that intro, and I already know. I don't care for makeup too much. I told you I don't plan to wear as much as I did before. I told you no judgment, Foxy. I told you. I ain't here to judge. Don't have to feel that way. If you wanted to wear a little makeup, that's fine. I personally have been wearing makeup for a long time. I've been doing my own hair. I grew up doing my own hair. I was like 12 years old doing my own hair. Straighten it, ponytail, curls, whatever. I was just one of those people. My mom used to laugh and joke. She would be like, that girl can't even reach, because we had the mailbox that was right onto the house. It wasn't at the street edge. And she was like, you can't even stick your arm out to grab the mail without your hair and makeup being done. And I was like, maybe. It does look nice. And it's interesting that people can do it, for hours before they go to Walmart. That's fine if they want to do that. I don't want to be that person, but if that's what you want to do. Well, Foxy. I don't know about that one. Yeah. Well, like I said, I have on some. Guys, I have no facial hair. So I've got on eyebrows. And then I don't know how good this camera is. It is a lot of social pressure, but I don't know how good this camera is. And if you can see, but I've got like mascara on, but that's it. But I do have on some makeup. I was like, I gotta have eyebrows. They can't tell what I'm thinking. They won't be able to see my facial expression without my eyebrows. I'll probably go fully with no makeup, but yeah. It's kind of like a mannequin face without makeup. I do look like that. I'm smooth, man. I'm smooth about the face. My brothers, they have these thick, bushy eyebrows. So I'm like, you don't even care, though. How do you get it and I don't? We have the same genetics. Like, how did you? Anyway. But, so yeah, I lived like that. That was kind of my beginning. And I'm going to go deeper into those things. Like I said, but it's about becoming more crystal clear. Another layer. And so, thankfully, through relationships and things of that nature, I was able to pull out of that. One of my first boyfriends, I met him at the church. And he would just be like, why are you Cinderella? You're like Cinderella. And I was like, what? He was like, you don't even really have a childhood. I was too busy taking directions over the phone on how to cook that meal during my mom's lunch break at work, helping between homework, to focus on what other people were doing. And he was just like, you're like Cinderella. Be a kid. And that's very hard for someone who's had maybe their childhood taken from them. That innocence taken from them. It was a very, 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 very hard adjustment when I went to college. I went to ORU here in Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Whoop, whoop. Funny enough, that same boyfriend, we dated for about, 4 or 5 years. It was teenagers. And so he's the one that suggested, you should go to ORU. And then when I applied, got in, and moved away, he actually was mad and he broke up with me. And it was for my better, trust me. But it was such a hard adjustment when I went to ORU because I was around a lot of people who were healthy. And I had not been able to be healthy. With the additional people, same house, guys, same house that I described from the beginning. 3 bedrooms, not even a huge house. I'd say maybe one of those, like maybe 1,500 square feet kind of house. 2 levels. And so remember, we've got extra kids, and my mom and all of her beauty invited a couple people to stay with us. So I no longer had my own room. By the time I went to college, I no longer had my own room. And not because it was my direct sister. It wasn't that kind of situation. If someone that she knew was out on the street, she'd, help them out and they could stay with us or whatever. Sometimes still no heat. Space heaters. And so going to college was a very, very big shock. It was pretty kind of traumatic. A little bit. Because here I am on a campus where kids grew up. This was a private school. Thankfully. Because I did not want to go to a state school. It's too much. I enjoyed my bubble. I did. It was a rough place. It was not good. But I enjoyed my bubble. And a lot of the abuse I experienced was because my mom, like I said, she could not watch me. My dad was in prison. And we had to live with different family members at time to time. Oh, can you watch the kids? I got to do this. I got to do that. Okay. Would you mind if, the kids, me, I was a kid at that time. Would you mind if the kids come over and stay for a little while? Or stay for the summer or whatever she had to arrange. And that's where the abuse happened. But it was between family members. So going to ORU, after living through all that, not really dealing with it. Because if you're still in the war and you're still fighting and you still are surrounded with a lot of that and you don't actually get any quiet time, you don't actually get to talk about it, you don't actually get to deal with it. Exactly. You're fighting and yet still wounded. And so it was very traumatic, but it was wonderful. I met a ton of amazing people that I still keep in touch with to this day at that school. But I saw these people, 2-parent family homes. There was food everywhere. Of course, there's meal plans. You have to pay out the wah to get it. But, there's food, there's boarding, And there's people from all walks of life. I loved going to ORU. I mean, 100+ countries represented. Just wonderful, wonderful school. And so it was quite an adjustment. And so I had to deal with a lot of things. I came face to face with a lot of it. Like, wow, that's not normal. That's not normal. That's not normal. That's not okay. Where the heck were they when that was happening? What is this? Why did that happen? Like, I had to deal with it. It was just always in my face. And I'm a very observant person. I wasn't one to just Oh, well, I'm doing my thing, so blah, blah, blah. And I talk to people. I like to learn about people's story. I like to hear it. And so when they would get their parents would send them Valentine's Day gifts because they didn't get the ring by spring at that point. It was different, but it was beautiful. Or they would, their parent would come when they had to move in and help move them in. I flew on a plane with just a few things. In fact, my mom and I had a falling out, and I almost didn't go to school. I had applied, of course, gotten scholarships, grants, and I graduated like the third of my high school class from high school, so I did pretty good in that regard. And so I went with a few things, like basically what I could get in a carry on, and got to school. And my mom and I had a falling out. But one of my high school teachers, she had seen broken home situations. She actually bought my flight. It was to Tulsa. It was, what, I don't know, 100 something dollars. It was like 45-minute at the most flight. It was nothing. Nothing. And that's how I got to ORU. It wasn't a caravan of my family members driving in, or even just, like, we're going to pick your bedding, and we're going to get this, and we're going to do this decorating, and we're going to have this, and, ooh, we got to get this. You have to have. There wasn't a ton of that. I actually remember some of my clothing when I first got there coming from, like, the free pile. You know how, like, an apartment dorm or whatever, there'd just be a pile of free stuff and it'd have a sign, free, please take. I remember some of my stuff coming from that. And there was just a lot of adjusting. Not only did I have to, yep, the free box. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And it was just, as you can imagine, hearing that backstory and then hearing about a private Christian school, people are healthy, trying to walk in their purpose, whatever they felt they were good at, go on to school. A lot of their parents were pastors, prophets, state leaders. Hi! I told Chief for this photo shoot that's coming up. Actually, I might go with a friend instead because, guys in shopping. And I'm not trying to have you rush me. But I told him I plan to start a Goodwill. Now, you go to expensive ones. You go to the nice ones out in the good neighborhoods. That's what, Yep. And so you start there. If I want a certain look, I can go piece some stuff together. And so I would, huh? Exactly. And so, dumpster fire. But yeah, I told him, no. I told him to build up his new wardrobe. We will go out to the very nice Goodwills where the mansions are in Tulsa. And we will go shop there, and we'll move up to Ross and then JCPenney's. Then, you'll throw Walmart in and see if they got anything worth talking about. That's how you shop. Shut up, Chief. Chief is weird and silly. But yes, so that upbringing, that childhood, that perception of the world into this global stage where people become mega church leaders and ministers and governmental leaders, traveling, like all the world had opened up in a major way. And so I had to navigate through that. I had to get used to that. I gained the freshman 20 probably because I hadn't had a good meal in a long time. It wasn't just freshmen being freshmen and eating and sitting and plotting or whatever. It was more so I have my own bed again. I know exactly where my food's coming from. I don't have to worry what I'm going to eat tonight. So that's part of the brain that I went into school with. And these people are talking about purpose and God loving you. And what are we going to do? We're going on missions trips to other countries. We're doing this. We're doing that. Exactly. It was like a shock to my system. But it was wonderful at the same time. And so, yeah, that's part of the story. That's part of my story. It was not a pleasant one. I don't have the memories of the family trips where we all just kind of pile into the car and go to like the amusement park. And I'm not jealous of anybody who did. I just want to make sure that if you have a chance to do that for your children, I've got nieces and nephews, and now they are starting to have nieces and nephews. But I just encourage you to do that, to remember that. We all have a childhood. Some of them are traumatic. Some of them are pleasant. There's good to pull out of everything. I do have happy memories. I don't want you to think that I don't. I don't want you to think that I don't. My youngest brother, oh my gosh, we call him Thuggy Bear. Because now he's one of those guys, he wants to be married, but he doesn't realize he wants to be married. And so he's a guy that's cuddly, but he's also from the hood. Yep, to visit family. Yeah, those are the family trips. Yep. There was no Disney World. I can't remember going to Six Flags, even though it's like, 30 minutes from where I lived. 45 minutes. I don't remember a bunch of those. I'm sure they happened at some point. I'm sure that it was mixed in there. But I don't remember all of that. But I do remember my youngest brother. Those sweet little moments. So my youngest brother, he's 5 years younger than I am. And he was like, we're going to call Carl Carly Boy. This little kid. Peter said this. He was like, Eris, your name is Sunshine. It's like, Mom, you're Mama Bear. And I'm Baby Bear. And so now I call him Thuggy Bear. But he gave himself the nickname of Baby Bear. Girl Scouts, yep. First vacay was 18. Off on a ranch, absolutely. I remember some of the first times I got out of the state was through the school. Because I was in engineering, science, and math achievement programs. And so we had like robotics competitions. And I went to, Huntsville, Alabama, where the space program is. You do like zero gravity and stuff. We kind of toured. And so it was older. It was older, but it wasn't with family. It was through school trips. But I understand, yep, Girl Scouts. You went to Six Flags for the first time in your first vacay. Cupcake was at 18. Yeah. Chief went to Canada because of the Boy Scouts. He's got his story. If you've tuned in a few times, you might have heard it. Where he hit what over the head?
Wolverine.
A wolverine with a paddle. And he still has the scars to prove that animals put down in his presence. Yep, school thing. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I say all this because it's important. It's a huge part of what I plan to bring to this channel. I don't have to be sad every time. As you can see, I'm not what I've been through. I don't look like what I've been through. I don't act like what I've been through. I've taken the good, I've left the bad. I still see those family members that those things have happened. There was some adjustment. There were some traumatic times for me and Chief to even approach. There was one family member that had gotten released from prison, and I had a complete breakdown. It was about 4 years ago that first happened. Yeah. Family trip to Chicago with your older brother, graduated Navy, basic training. Wow. You were 15 or 16? Yeah. Nice. But you also don't have to look like what you've been through. I haven't hidden it. Anybody who asks, I tell them. It did take some time though. I was deeply depressed, and especially after. So here's another part. A family trip to South Carolina when he graduated part of his schooling. That was summer. You turned 17. Wow. Those are happy moments, and you celebrated with him. He graduated. He went through basic training. That's good. That's good. So, here I am in college. Engineering, of course, because I went to a hood public school. I'm telling you guys, my public high school got shut down after I graduated, thank God. Because there was an outbreak of STDs. Like, it was bad. The school was not good. The neighborhood I lived in, they called it Bloody Lawn. It was a spin on the actual name, but it's because of all of the... I mean, I lived across the street from a crack house, a trap house, or whatever. I would see people pull up literally across the street, so I could look out the front window, look across the street, and there'd be, an exchange. You know it. The little, have a good day, Chief. Don't laugh at me. But you know it. Thank you, Cupcake. Appreciate that. And so I'm in school. I had to do some remedial classes because my high school was, behind, and I personally was behind. And it was, no child left behind, even if they're failing, they can't read or do math. Why are we doing that today? That's another stream, but I'm pissed off about that. You can't graduate the top of your class with a freaking 1.4 GPA. Get the heck out of here. You are failing these children today. Anyhow. My grades were not that bad. I was not, in that category. But I wasn't on the level all these kids who had gone to private school their whole lives had reached. And so I'm doing those classes, and then I'm like, you know what I really want to do? I really want to do engineering because I'm a very analytical thinker. I think I break it down. I can pick up a subject like that. You have to teach me from the beginning. You gotta show me the basics though. I gotta start on the bottom floor with you though. And then I can build up. But my math, unfortunately, was just way too off because we had moved around. I think I'd gone to 2 or 3 middle schools. My math, algebra was just jacked. And my mom didn't have the know-how or the patience or the time to sit down and show me, okay, baby, let's solve for X. Let's do this. We can, okay, let's inside the parentheses, order of operation. She didn't know any of that, so she couldn't help with any of that. But I wanted to be in engineering, so I started engineering. And I did okay. It definitely wasn't the right fit for me. I finally found the right fit for me. But I could keep up. I could produce on tests and everything? No, not necessarily. But I could sit around, have a conversation, help build projects. I was just that type of person. Just enough. And so, um, I was in biomedical engineering. I did very well on the biology side. It was like breathing to me. Chemistry, organic chemistry, picked it up very easily, especially since I could start at the bottom with everyone else in the class and general understanding. And so, 3 years of that, 4 years came, and I was about to start my 5th year. It's the summer right between my 4th and 5th year of school. And I received a phone call. And my aunt had talked to, because at that point I was a chaplain in college. I had gotten into the chaplain program in school. And like I said, I've been a church chaplain, all that good stuff, counseling, kind of a therapist my entire life. And so I was a chaplain, and then this time I was a head chaplain. Like I was over floors of people who were chaplains of that floor. And so my aunt had gotten a hold of the chaplain who ran the program overall for the entire ORU school, the female chaplain, and they had me go to their office. And my aunt had tried to call me and had tried to arrange some things, but she had to tell me right then and there that my mom had passed away. It was a Sunday morning. And my mom had died of a heart attack. She was actually working at the time 2 full-time jobs. One full-time job was at the church, being the director of the school, because she was just such a good teacher. And when she could communicate with kids, not everybody can communicate with kids. I can talk to kids. But if I can't spank them kids, I can't watch your kids too long. Like, it's too much for me. I love being around kids, but to like have them in a classroom for 8 hours and expect them to pay attention, draw, take the nap when they're supposed to, like, that's too much. She had a full-time job working at the church, and then she had a second full-time job being an in-home healthcare nurse overnight. You cannot live your life on 2 full-time jobs. So she was clearly sleeping on one of them. Not eating well. She was very, very overweight, 400 or so pounds. And she had never just really taken care of herself. She had never really done what she needed to do for herself. That's why I press so much when I talk about, what do you actually enjoy doing? What do you feel like you're good at? What do you enjoy? If your weight is a problem, do something about it. You cannot pour out to everyone else for everything else and not take care of yourself. That's why I'm so strong on that. And I know Chief has gotten on me, but the weight thing, She died of a heart attack. Could have been prevented. My mom died, guys, when I was 21. She's only 23 years older than me. She was only 44. I am 34 now. And I have lived all these years without her being in my life. She has never met Jack, of course. She never even seen that, what happened. She will never see this. She'll never see it if we have grandchildren. Even the fur babies, I know some. Jack's parents treat our fur babies like they're grandbabies, but they want us to have real human babies too. But she'll never see that. I continued to live in Oregon for about a year or two more, self-medicating. I was just gone. I was a zombie. I was floating. I was depressed. I basically dropped out of school, still living on campus, still paying, receiving student loans so that I could live on site. But my aunt had the wisdom enough not to allow me to move back to St. Louis because there was trouble everywhere. And if you needed it, you could find it. And the ex-boyfriend that I had lived with, or I didn't live with him, but that I, dated, that kind of helped pull me out of some of that Cinderella type stuff. His mom had died before mine of a brain aneurysm, very different. But he had started going down a dark path. And had I stayed there, I might have been on that path with him. So I was living on campus, basically drunk the whole time off of NyQuil. I wasn't stupid enough to bring real alcohol onto a Christian campus where I had to sign a form that said I would neither consume alcohol or nicotine. I wasn't that dumb. But I was basically drinking. I was depressed for 2 years. There was a dark cloud over me. I was grieving with no one to grieve with. And people wanting to give me space, but not really knowing how to help. I didn't, I wasn't mad at anyone. I didn't expect. I needed to process. Because my mom had died from a heart attack. Her mom died when she was young. When her and her two sisters were young. Her mom had died from multiple sclerosis. MS. And so my mom had watched her mom kind of shrivel up. Had to take care of her. So she didn't know fully how to be how can you teach what you don't know? And if you start having kids young, or if you're doing this and that. So my mom felt she was doing the best she could. She knew it wasn't all she wanted to do. But she was doing the best she could. And so I refused to have kids out of wedlock because of that. I refuse for my kids if I have them. Thank you, God. If I don't, thank you, God. But I refuse to have a home where my kids didn't have two parents. That ORU was traumatic. But it was like a rebirth, resurrection. It was like a renewing. I was a different person for being there. It taught me things that my mom could not. It showed me things that my neighborhood could not. Gave me opportunities that my school could not. I'm sure there was jealousy. I was jealous at some point. But then I just questioned, why? Why didn't I? Why couldn't I? Why couldn't she? Why didn't they? Anywho, so I found that out. And I moved my brothers out to Tulsa. One was a minor. Like I said, I was 21 when she passed. I have a brother that's 5 years younger. So he was a minor. And I had a middle brother. I think he has Asperger's. He won't go get diagnosed. I'm pretty sure he did, or he does. He's extremely smart, just not socially, adept. And I moved them out. And I took them on trips because I had a new life. So I took them out to West Virginia with a friend of mine that I called my sister from another mister. We went whitewater rafting, camping, bonfires, and they moved here permanently, and they no longer live here. But I needed to help pull them out of that situation because they were still kind of in the rough neighborhoods, kind of drifting as well. And I did that during the summer sometimes because my aunt that had convinced my mom to go to church had become the legal guardian of my sister's kids. And so I bring my nieces and nephews out. They're all adults now, of course. The youngest graduated from high school. Jack and I went to his graduation. We're so proud of him. But yeah, we're all adults now. And when you think back on your own childhood, you might have had some things as well. I know you have mentioned some in the chat. But I started this stream because I needed to be clear as crystal. Yeah, I mentioned a lot of trauma. That's because I've also mentioned a lot of positivity, and some people don't understand or know my backstory. But I am a writer. And I want to read you some of my book. Would you like to hear it? Let me know. Put it in the chat. Those that are in here. Chief. So this is the book that I've been writing that I have wanted to use. Yeah, it's actually why I started this channel. Yeah, Cupcake. Foxy, yes! I appreciate you too. But it's the reason why I started this channel, because I wanted to start being who I am. Truly who I am. Mask off. Clear as crystal. My full name is Eris Crystal. But I wanted to be who I really am. No more hiding. No more living under a cloud. No more not speaking up because, is it right? Second guessing myself because I never really got that. Like none of that. I didn't want any more of that. I refused. And so my book is entitled Becoming Crystal. This book is dedicated to every person, young or old, who has suppressed the things of their past in order to make it another day, or who has felt voiceless and ashamed. You are not alone, and there is better waiting for you. To my wonderful husband, Jack, who inspires me to live in more joy and freedom with each passing day. I want to be the wife God originally intended for you. And most of all, to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who has granted every gift to be given away. Every day is with you is sweeter than the day before. Crystal is clear, transparent, and beautiful. It is different from glass as it makes a ringing sound. I have lived my life in a family where what happens in this family stays in this family, even to its own detriment. I grew up very hidden and withdrawn. I was always happy to listen and offer solicited advice on any situation. However, it was difficult for me to open up concerning my own life and what I experienced. My own behavior has cost me many friends and healthy relationships. This book, although difficult for me to write, has brought much healing and has helped me to become what God has always wanted me to be. Clear, transparent, beautiful, and heard. Flashing lights. Every girl longs for the love, affection, and affirmation of her father. And I was by no means any different. I was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri, and I was in my heart of hearts through and through a daddy's girl. Always have been, always will be. Some of my earliest childhood memories involved my dad. In fact, the earliest one revolved completely around him. Our little family was nowhere near perfect or well off. We lived in a 2-family flat that had long hallways, hardwood floors, and the sound of laughter. Oh, how I love to laugh. Like every young princess, I ran and laughed, jumped and giggled, and sang and snickered. At that age, I didn't have a ton of friends or toys, but I had the love of my mom and dad. By the time I was 5, I had 2 younger brothers. One was 3 and the other was a newborn. I understood my duty as their older sister was protector, but at 5, I spent much time checking on them as I did being adorned by my parents. Pumpkin seed! I looked up from underneath my bed, but stayed as still and quiet as I could as not to give away my location. Where is my pumpkin seed? I heard my dad's voice say in wonder as his footsteps drew closer. I could feel the cold hardwood floors against my knees as I made myself nearly invisible by holding my hands over my head. Where in the world could my baby girl be? She was just playing in the living room. My dad's voice sounded even louder as he stood in the doorway of my bedroom. My laugh gave away my location. The anticipation of my discovery was too much to contain. I quickly covered my mouth, but then heard the creaks of the floor from my own slight movements. There's my pumpkin seed. My dad's face beamed with joy as he pulled me out of my fortress. I laughed and enjoyed my dad's embrace as he swung me around, surrounding me in so much comfort and adulation. I love you, baby girl. I love you too, Daddy. Do you know why I call you pumpkin seed? Because your birthday is close to Halloween and your head was shaped like a seed when you were born. Daddy, you're funny, I replied. Why don't you go ahead and play a bit while I check on dinner? Okay, I responded. I pulled out my doll to continue our adventures through imaginary jungles and woods. In my mind's eye, the princess stood there with her beautiful dark skin, long black hair, and new clothes she received from the local villagers. She stood straight up to peer out to the wide open plain, keeping her eyes peeled for any sudden movements. Her eyes quickly darted over to her right as part of the bush along the outline of the plain moved in the opposite direction of the wind. There, she whispered to her loyal partner. Her horse had been with her since the beginning of her voyage. She quickly mounted and led the horse in the direction of the rustling. As she approached, she could see that a mother deer and her baby were eating, and their bodies pressed against the brush as they took their bites and raised their heads to stay on alert. I guess he has escaped us again, but he won't be able to get away next time, she said as she stroked the horse's manes reassuringly. Clap, clap, clap. You like that, Carly boy? My mom asked. Okay, I'll sing it again. Carl, Carl, baba, banana, fana, fa, me, mama, Maro, Carl. My mom loved singing our names, and Carl, the 3-year-old, loved to try to dance and clap along while sitting in his high chair. Do me next, me next. Okay, my mom responded, but instead of using Eris, let's use your nickname. Okay, I replied. She started in, fat, bobat, banana, fana, for rat. I yelled, fee, fi, fo, fat. My dad joined in as he entered the kitchen. That is smelling good, my dad said while rubbing his stomach. Oh, yeah? Well, believe it or not, it's the same meal you cooked me for our first date, my mom responded. Ah, my famous fried chicken and rice, my dad said proudly. Yeah, but your chicken had blood in the center. Your rice nearly broke my teeth, she retorted with laughter. Right, but it worked famously, didn't it? My dad asked. How so? My mom questioned with confusion. Well, I still won you over, and you have never asked me to cook again. My dad responded humorously. A win-win, he added. As my parents continued their back and forth banter, I kept singing the song and playing with Carl. He laughed and clapped in his high chair, and after a couple more rounds of his name, I said, let's do baby. I left everyone in the kitchen and walked into my parents' room to find the newest addition. He laid swaddled in his little bed. His eyes blinked with random smiles. I walked up slowly, remembering my mom telling me not to wake him as he needed all the sleep he could get so he could grow up big and strong. Gently putting both hands on the rails, I slowly pulled myself up on my tippy toes and rested my chin so that I could see his smiling face. I whispered to him, let's do baby, and saying his name as best as I could, saying, bice, bo bice, banana, fana, for bice, me, my, mo bice. He slightly squirmed in his blanket while looking up to the ceiling, seemingly moving to the song. Let's sing it again, bice, before I could get out the second word. Everyone stopped and looked toward the front of the cozy home as they heard the loud, thunderous knock at the door. As I peeked my head out of their room, I could see the light flashing red and blue streams into our living room and down the hall. The bright flashes covered every piece of furniture and every family photo of our front room. What did you do now? My mom yelled at my dad as she walked toward the front door. St. Louis police, open up! The voice demanded. My mom muttered prayers as she looked through the peephole and back at my dad in anxiety and fear. She took a deep breath and opened the door. In a blur, my dad was in cuffs and in the back of a squad car. Tears streamed down my face and I stared at the door. My brothers were crying in the background and my mom was weeping and praying as she tried to quiet them. As the lights pulled away further and further from the house, I had the sinking feeling that I wouldn't see my dad for a long time. And unfortunately, I was right. I think that's enough. So like I said, this is why I started this show. This is why I started this channel. Because of that story. Because of your story. I just happen to have a gift for writing. But many of us have similar stories. Get some napkins. Many of us have similar stories. And I believe just as it is for me. Thank you, Cupcake. Thank you, Foxy. I received that hug and I give you a huge hug back. Many of us are and don't realize we are the lead stars of our own stories. We have all, of course, been born, had kind of a drive or a purpose, maybe even something passed on from your family, and then something traumatic happened. And we have reached forks in the road time after time. Are we going to stay in that same place? Are we going to move forward? Are we going to do something different? Or are we going to take the good, leave the bad, and build on it? I'm not ashamed of my past. It's one that's too common. And I refuse to stay in isolation like I did in the past. We've been tricked that nobody else has gone through anything similar. We've told ourselves, we've convinced ourselves, and social media today reinforces that, and it's stupid. You are not alone. You have nobody else. Tune in here. I'll be reading the book. I do plan to keep Sundays. I'm just going to flow with it. Whatever I feel to do, I'm going to do. If I feel like reading to you, talking about my childhood, talking on a general topic, I know this is what I'm supposed to do. I understand, Roxanne. I appreciate that. Send you a huge hug. And men don't like to talk about it either, but they've been abused as well. This is not something that just happens with women. But I don't plan to just talk and we sit and wallow. Oh no. You see, when the devil messed with me, he messed with the wrong one. He should have killed me when he killed my mom. Or any other millions of opportunities he's had, because I plan to pull people out. I plan to talk about pedophilia on this channel and what's going on with it in our country, in our news, in Disney. That bullshit is not going to last very long. But I plan, that's why I've tried to keep this channel clean. You know, I let Chief do what he needs to do on his channel. He's got the guy's channel. I get it. But I try to keep this channel clean because I want kids to see this channel. They need to see this channel. That's right. Men, not only as children, but they're getting abused today as grown men, physically, emotionally, sexually. It's no different. And that's why, yeah, it's pretty in pink. But I plan to talk real. And if you don't like the other gender, if you don't care to, whatever. We come to talk about healing, progress, moving forward. Do you know what you're here for? Purpose in your life. We're watching people drift. And we can't stand by. We're watching people go down. And we can't stay silent. So I wrote. I'm writing. We're here. This is clear as crystal. And we plan to be as transparent as possible. And I thank all of you. Acid, Foxy, those who shared, Smile, thank you for the new follow. Thank you. I hope you're sticking around or get to watch it back. Check out the other streams. I go into depth about some of the things I've talked about. I've numbered them as episodes because I do want to build. But we are here to be transparent. And if anything I've learned, any information I can share will help you, I pray you're able to receive it. Thank you so much for joining me today in my book, Becoming Crystal. And this is clear as crystal.